Hi everyone, I'm from Horizon Wings, I'm Jeannie, and this is Asha. Asha is our resident barred owl here at Horizon Wings. And Asha is with us because, much like about 80% of the birds that come into Horizon Wings, she flew into a vehicle and she had a severe head injury. And if she turns and looks at you, you're going to see that Asha is actually missing one of her eyes. She struck the vehicle so hard that it resulted in us having to have that eye removed by a veterinarian. Now sometimes we can release a bird that has one eye like this, but with the severe injury that she suffered, she sustained hearing injury as well, so she cannot be released back to the wild. So she stays with us now. So Asha has been with us now for 2 years, and she was a young adult when she came in. Barred owls. She's a barred owl. She's a barred owl because of this barring that you can see on her feathers here. And they're named, that's why they're named that, sorry. So barred owls are very common here in the state of Connecticut, and you're probably going to hear them. A lot of times when people say, I have an owl in my backyard, what is it? I can hear it calling constantly. This is what you're hearing. So that's the barred owl. That's just one of the noises that they can make. They can also sound like monkeys chattering, dogs barking in your backyard. So barred owls are very common in the state of Connecticut, and just a couple of years ago we had what was called an eruption of barred owls in our state, where people were seeing them during the daytime and they thought there was something wrong. Something was going on. Why am I seeing barred owls during the daytime? And one of the theories with that was that we had a really wet spring, and there was a lot of amphibians that survived, so there was a lot of surplus food around for young barred owls that were hatching out. So we had a whole bunch of barred owls that survived through their clutches that year, and then when it came the end of summer and fall, those birds are out hunting. They had to find food for themselves, so they were having a hard time. So that was one of the theories. Right now is a great time to get out in the woods and see or hear barred owls. There's no leaves on the trees. It'd be easier to see them, even though they have great camouflage. You have an easier time seeing them now than you will when the leaves are out. And they're getting ready to start mating here very soon, so they're vocalizing, and you might actually be able to call them in. So I've been out hiking several times, and if you just throw a barred owl call out there, you might have one call back to you, kids. That's a really fun thing to do. Before you know it, you might get one or two of them. They actually will fly in and investigate who and what you are, so that's cool. So practice your barred owl calling out there. It's a lot of fun. So barred owls will eat a variety of things. So they like to live in a habitat where there's some wetlands, a brook or a pond, and that's because they do like those amphibians. But they're going to eat a lot of other things too, from birds, maybe even snakes, mice, lots of different rodents, chipmunks. So they're opportunistic. Basically, they're going to eat what they can find. And they're not a real active hunter. They're going to sit up in a tree and they practice perch and pounce methods of hunting. So this bird here isn't about speed, not real fast when it flies, but it has several adaptations that will help it in order to be able to survive out there. The first one being her eyes. If Asha would look at the camera, you can see how large her eye is. She's got a really, really big eye. So it'd be like us walking around with grapefruits or large oranges in our head. That's how large their eyes are. And for that reason, they don't have room for muscles to be able to move that eye. So they're fixed like a headlight of a car. So in order for this bird to have a full range of vision, she's got to turn her head. So we can hold our head still and still move our eyes, but Asha cannot do that. So we can demonstrate here with a puppet on how far an owl can turn its head. So it can't do this. It can't go all the way around like that. But what she can do is 3/4 of the way around, 270 degrees, and sometimes they go really fast in one direction and switch it in the other direction. So it looks like it goes all the way around, but they really can't do that. And they have the ability to do that because of the bones in their neck. So all of us mammals here, we feel the lumps in the back of our neck. Those are our vertebrae, and your dog has 7, and a cat has 7, and a giraffe has 7. They're just really, really big. Asha here, she has 14 of those bones in her neck. And that makes her have the ability to have that bendable and flexibility to be able to move her neck the way she can. So that's her first special feature. Second special feature is her hearing. So owls hunt with hearing a lot. And you're going to say, well, where's her ears? There's so many feathers there. And actually, owls have about 8,000 feathers. But hers, if we peel back the feathers right here near her facial disc, She has really large openings for those ears. They're huge. And she has something called asymmetrical hearing, where she's got one ear that will point up and one ear that points down, and she uses that to triangulate the sound. It's a big word, makes a triangle, so she's going to turn her head, and when the sound hits both of those ears, she can know exactly where that little mouse is running. And she can tell the distance, she can tell the height, and then she can swoop down and get it. So if you look at the shape of her face too, if she turns her head, nope. If she turns her face, she's got a satellite dish-shaped face. Just like that satellite for TV signals, it brings in the sound. Same thing with an owl. And Asha here, this facial disc, those feathers are stiff. There she goes. Those feathers are stiff. So it helps push sound into those ears. And those feathers right up and down her beak are really stiff too. And she can move them and help push that sound in. So it's all about hearing for this bird. And their next special feature is their silent flight. So now that they've sat in a tree, they've got a little mouse and they've pinpointed exactly where that little mouse is, they're going to swoop down silently, and they're amazing. If we could show you a feather at some point, if you saw one, maybe we'll do it in a future episode here, you'll be able to see that it's fringe-like and it breaks up the sound, and they are quiet. So it's real important if we get a barred owl that comes in and has feather damage, that we put it out in our flight aviary and we make sure that it's still silent flight. It's very, very important for them. So their last special feature are her toes. So she's got 4 toes, and she flies usually 3 in front, 1 in back. But if she's going to swoop down and grab something, she can swivel a toe around and make it 2 and 2, just like she's gripped right here on my finger. And a lot of times owls like to lay down when they're up in the tree, so that's going to help them hang onto those branches too. So those are their 4 amazing features. One of the big things that impacts this bird, and where we see it usually every year, is they are cavity dwellers, so they're going to look for a spot that's a crotch of a tree, maybe an old woodpecker hole, a branch broke off, big enough for them to get into, and that's where they're going to lay their eggs. So to them, our chimneys, unfortunately, look like a great spot. And we had 4 of them come in last year at Horizon Wings in a short period of time that were all stuck in chimneys. Only 1 of them survived, because what happens, kids, is they get in your chimneys and they can't get out. They're scratching at the chimney and they get all that creosote goes in their eyes. And they might have feather damage too. And so we have to get them into Horizon Wings and wash them up, because they don't even look like this. You can't even see the barring on them. They come out and they're black with all that soot. So it's really important that we put a cap on our chimneys, because not only barred owls get in there, but raccoons, wood ducks, screech owls, bats, a lot of different things get in there. So you can help have your parents, it's a nice fun project to do, put a cap on your chimney so nothing can get in there. So we're going to wrap up today with Asha, and look forward to seeing you again on another episode.